English, the way we speak it today, started its amazing journey a long, long time ago. Around the year 500, a group of people called the Anglo-Saxons came to Britain. These people were from Germany and they brought their language with them. This was the start of Old English, the first version of our language. Old English sounded very different from how we speak today, but it was super important because it was like the base of a big, strong building. Think about a time when words like morgen, morning, and stiora, and star, were used every day. These words from German show how much the Anglo-Saxons changed our language. Even now, we can see pieces of this old time in simple words like day and night. These word leftovers remind us of the Anglo-Saxons and how they changed how English sounds. This time also gave us sounds that are still very English today. The th sound, like in thing and this, came straight from Old English. This sound, which isn't used much in other languages, became a big part of English. The Anglo-Saxons coming to Britain wasn't just something that happened in history books. It made the language we speak today, giving it a special German flavor. After the Anglo-Saxons made Britain their home, another group of people came across the sea, the Vikings. These Norsemen from Scandinavia brought their own language and how they did things, and they changed Britain forever. We can still see how their language, Old Norse, changed English. Imagine the Vikings, strong warriors with their long boats, bringing more than just weapons. Their language, Old Norse, started to mix with Old English, making a cool new language mix. Words like sky and skull became English words, bringing with them the ski sound, a special sound from Norse languages. This sound, which wasn't in Old English before, made English sounds even more interesting. The Norse didn't just give us new words, they also changed how we use words and how we say them. The word they, for example, replaced the Old English word high, showing how the Norse changed even small parts of the language. The Vikings, who are usually just seen as fighters, actually did something really important for English, giving us words and sounds we still use. In 1066, William the Conqueror, a duke from Normandy, won a big battle called the Battle of Hastings. This changed English history forever. He brought Norman French, a language that would change how English sounds and how it works. This time, called the Middle English period, saw a cool mix of languages as French words and sounds became part of English. Imagine the English court, where Old English used to be the main language, now full of people speaking French. Words like court and justice became part of English, showing the new Norman government and laws. These words and many others brought softer, more romantic sounds from French, like the J sound in judge and the ch sound in chair. These sounds, which were new to English, made the language sound fancier. William the Conqueror didn't just give us new words, he also changed how English was spoken. The French way of stressing certain parts of words and their smoother way of speaking started to change how English sounded. This time of language mixing, even though it started with a war, made English better, giving it more sounds and ways to say things. The Renaissance, a time when art and smart people did amazing things, also changed English. Scholars rediscovered old books and started using Latin and Greek again. These old languages started to change English in big ways, especially the words we use and how we say them. Imagine how excited those Renaissance scholars were, reading old books and finding new words and ideas. Words like anatomy and gravity became English words, showing the new science and philosophy of the time. These words from Latin brought special vowel and consonant sounds like the A in anatomy and the hard G in gravity. These sounds, although they were already in English, became more important and made the language sound even smarter. The Renaissance also gave us rules for spelling English, thanks to the printing press. These rules, while they helped everyone use the same spelling, also made some pronunciations stay the same, even though people kept changing how they talked. The Renaissance, a time of new beginnings, changed English forever, giving it more words and changing how we say things. Section 5, Celtic echoes, regional accents and their origins. Way before the Anglo-Saxons came, people called Celts lived in the British Isles. They had their own languages and cultures. While most people stopped speaking Celtic languages when Germanic and Romance languages came, you can still hear Celtic in how people speak in different parts of Britain. Imagine the green hills of Wales or the rocky coast of Scotland, each place with its own special way of speaking. In Wales, you can hear the Welsh language in the sing-song way people talk and the rolled R sound. In Scotland, Gaelic changes how people speak, making some sounds come from deep in the throat and changing the vowel sounds. These different ways of speaking are a living memory of the Celts and how they changed how words sound. The Celtic influence on English pronunciation shows us that language isn't stuck in one place, but changes all the time. Regional accents make the language interesting and show the history and culture of the British Isles. Section 6. The Great Vowel Shift, a seismic event in sound. Between the 1300s and 1700s, English changed a lot. This time is called the Great Vowel Shift. Long vowels started to sound different, changing almost every word in English. We don't know exactly why this happened, but it changed how we speak and hear English today. Imagine a time when the word house sounded more like whose and bite sounded like beat. During the Great Vowel Shift, long vowels slowly started to sound higher in the mouth. This means the vowel in house moved from a low sound in the back of your mouth to a higher sound more towards the front, making it sound like it does today. This shift changed almost every long vowel in English, changing how we say lots of words. The Great Vowel Shift shows how language can change over time, sometimes in small ways you wouldn't expect. It reminds us that language isn't stuck, but changes all the time because of social, cultural, and linguistic things. Section 7, a global language borrowing sounds from around the world. As England became more powerful around the world through exploring, making colonies and trading, English also started to spread. From the Americas to Asia, English met lots of new languages and cultures. This led to a cool sharing of words, phrases, and even sounds. Imagine the busy ports of the British Empire, where English mixed with languages like Hindi, Arabic, and Mandarin. From India, English borrowed words like bungalow and shampoo, bringing with them the special sounds of India. From the Middle East, words like algebra and coffee came into English, bringing new consonant sounds and ways to pronounce words. This mixing of languages made English richer, making it a true world language, showing all the different cultures in the world. Borrowing words and sounds from other languages shows how easily English changes and includes new things. It reminds us that language isn't limited by countries, but is always changing and adapting to new places and ideas. Section 8. Understanding the evolution, a boon for learners. For people learning English as a second language, knowing how English changed over time, especially how it sounds, can be really helpful. By learning where English words and sounds came from, learners can better understand how to say things correctly and get a better feel for the language. Knowing that the sound came from the Anglo-Saxons, for example, can help learners from different language backgrounds to practice this special sound. Similarly, understanding the Great Vowel Shift can help explain why some English spellings and pronunciations are weird, making them seem less random and more logical. By learning about the history of English, learners can feel more confident and speak more fluently. Section 9. Conclusion, the ever-evolving tapestry of English. The English language, with its interesting history and many influences, shows how language changes over time. From its start as a German language spoken on a small island to its place now as a global language, English has always been changing, adapting and taking in new words and sounds. Understanding this evolution isn't just for school, it helps us understand the secrets of the language. By learning about how history changed English, we understand why it is complex and sometimes weird, letting us use it better and enjoy it more. So the next time you hear a strange pronunciation or see a weird spelling, remember that there's a cool story behind it about how language and cultures change, a story that continues every time we speak.